Hi, welcome to your workshop, Mama. Thank you so much for being here today. I am so proud of you for taking this time out to be here and sit here and give yourself time to prioritize yourself and learn more about your body and how to get back to yourself after a C-section. So the purpose of this workshop is to help you have a better understanding of what your post-C-section body has gone through and to give you a clear and safe direction towards recovery and restoration. And because you're here today and you're doing this for yourself, I've got a big surprise for you and a gift as well. So a surprise and a gift, but you gotta stay till the end and watch till the end to get that as a reward. So let's get to it. So I'm Coach Mindy, of course. I'm a certified fitness professional. I have been so since 2003. And I used to be a group exercise instructor, a spin instructor, a CrossFit coach, yoga, and Pilates instructor. So this has been my job for a very long time. And I am currently a US certified pre and postnatal fitness expert and a postpartum corrective exercise specialist since 2019. I am a UK certified postpartum core and pelvic floor rehab specialist as well. I am our country's first postpartum core rehab specialist. I'm also our country's first C-section recovery and return to exercise specialist. I'm a mama of two very beautiful, kind, loving, and very challenging girls as well that I have delivered via C-section. And I founded Mama Fit in 2018, and since then I have helped a little over 1,200 mamas. And I really hope I get to help you as well. So what is Mama Fit exactly? Mama Fit is a lot more than just a program. Mama Fit is a movement. It is my passion and my mission in my life. It is my life's purpose to help as many moms as I can return to ourselves after having a baby. We are a community as well of empowered mamas helping each other out, going through this whole motherhood journey together, and we are mamas making a difference. And we are making a difference not just in our own lives. We are literally holding the future in our arms. So the way that we look after ourselves is going to be the way that our children will look after themselves and their children and their children's 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 children. So we are really making a difference in the world and the future by being here today and doing this for us. Why did I start Mama Fit exactly? So I realized that women are so underserved, right? If you're in the Philippines, you'll understand when I say, lugi talaga tayo mga moms. Especially talaga moms, because there's always this big drop-off of care once a baby is born. You know, before we give birth, we have our OBs looking after us. Every month, you know, we go for a checkup, and then every 2 weeks, and then after that, we deliver, and that's it. We see our OB when we're pregnant again. So there's this big drop-off of care that happens once we've given birth, and we're kind of left to our own devices. I remember when I gave birth, my first baby was through an emergency C-section after a real breeze of a pregnancy, and I was not expecting to end up having to deliver via C-section. If you delivered via emergency C-section, I know that you agree with me that you're completely blindsided. You go in there, some of us go in there just for a checkup, and then that's it. You're not allowed by the doctor to go out anymore because of some kind of medical reason. For me though, the baby just wouldn't come out. 41 weeks in, and she's still up there. Belly was so high and everything was induced. Ended up with a C-section after 21 hours of labor. And it was terrible. And it was traumatic. It really, really was. And there was nobody around really after to help me understand that, yeah, it was a traumatic experience and it's okay and it's normal for me to feel the way that I felt. There was no one around to help me realize how much of my mind and my body had changed, how much of myself had changed. No one told me that, hey, you're not you anymore after this baby is born. And I felt so lost and alone, and I got so injured so very badly when I went back to working out. Because remember, I was a coach for so long. At that point, I had been a coach for 12 years at that point. And I thought I knew who I was. I thought I knew who my body was or what my body could do. And when I went back to exercise, I went back to moving, I got so injured and I was so depressed. And there's nobody here around to help me, especially here in the Philippines. So I realized that this had to change. So Mama Fit started out with me just wanting to help mamas to learn how to move again. And now we want you to learn how to thrive. So not just getting back into moving, but getting back into feeling like yourself again, finding the things that you love, finding out what to eat so that I can feel good about myself. How do I feed my children the right food? What do I do to nourish my body? How can I learn how to do things that I never used to do before? So finding who you are in the season of your life and thriving, not just in body, also in mind and in soul. Have full control of who you are and the legacy you leave behind for your children, because this is what we're doing here. We're leaving this behind for our kids. What we're doing now is going to affect all the generations after us. And 5 years ago, we wanted to help 100 moms. And we have since helped over 1,000, and we want this number to grow tenfold. So we have developed a way to incorporate this into our busy, crazy mama life. And if you stay till the end, I will show you exactly how you can do this perfectly. What's in store for you today? At the end of this class, we will build the steps I can help you to take towards recovering from your C-section, goodbye to your pain and your pooch, and building your strongest, best mom bod ever. And it's even easier than you might think. So I'm really excited. So please stay till the end so you can get the keywords you need and exactly the tools you need to get there. What else can we expect today? We're going to talk about what happens to your body after a C-section, what's going on down there in your scar, how much time do we actually need to recover, and why your body feels so differently after the baby. I'm going to teach you how to assess your diastasis recti and talk about that. We're going to zero in on your scar, your layers, the fascia and how it moves, the tools to recover well and quickly after your C-section. And you can do this even if you've had your C-section years ago. C-section scar mobility, massage and movement, a little lesson on what you can do for your scar at this point and moving forward. Plus, most of all, I'm going to share with you my top 5 post C-section safe exercises for core and scar recovery. That's part of my C-section roadmap program that we're going to talk about a little bit more later. All right, so let's talk about your body during your C-section and afterwards. So C-section is major abdominal surgery. And I cannot stress this enough. I don't think it's talked about enough how C-section is the only major open abdominal surgery where they cut through 7 layers of you and then they remove a beautiful human being that your body had grown over 7, 8, 9 months, depending on when you give birth. And then they sew up those layers and then they hand you this baby. And this is the only surgery you're gonna have that you need to now nourish this human that you created and grew and made with this post-surgery body that needs to recover and figure out how to move and be alive again after that surgery. So it is very intense. And you are an absolute warrior for being here today and doing everything that you're doing. So what is it exactly that happened to that area during your C-section? After your C-section, your body goes through stages of healing. And the 4 stages of healing are these. First and foremost, you have homeostasis, which is right after your surgery, up until about day 4. So that first week is homeostasis, and it leads into inflammation stage, which is about day 4 to about day 6 or 7, thereabouts. So about that first week or so is your homeostasis, right into inflammation. Homeostasis means balance. So at this point, your body is trying to return to balance or what it was before. Right after homeostasis is your inflammation period. Now, inflammation period is that period where you suddenly bloat up. In Tagalog, it is manas. Nagmanas tayo in this area, in this stage. You'll notice as well that first couple of days into about a week or 2 that, your feet are so bloated and swollen, your face, your hands. Nobody told me about this. So I completely freaked out after my first baby because I didn't even bloat the whole pregnancy and then suddenly I was so swollen. This is just your body secreting extra fluids to aid in that recovery and healing of your wounds and your tissues inside. Right after inflammation, you have proliferation, which is the first 3 to 6 weeks of your scar or your incision healing. So if you look at this picture over here on the slide, this is kind of the stages of your healings from left to right. So proliferation is where the scab kind of starts to form, and that's in the first 3 to 6 weeks. And this is where we're being really careful and it's covered up and you've got tegaderm all over it. And we're trying to keep it from being moved very much because it's forming new skin, new tissues. After this, from 3 to 6 weeks onwards to 24 months is the remodeling or maturation period. So this is where your scar or all the tissues inside are now starting to heal and remodel and try to return to what it used to be. How many layers does our scar have and how does it look? So we have 7 layers worth of scar in there. As I mentioned earlier, they cut through 7 layers of us to get baby out. And I found a very creative video from another content creator who does the same thing as me. And it's really, really interesting. So here's a video of how it looks to have your scar. So check this out. First you start with skin, and then it's a layer of fat followed by fascia, and then your ab muscles, your peritoneum, your uterus, your amniotic sac. There's 7 whole layers of us that they cut through, right? So you have the skin followed by the fat and then the muscle. The fascia is the connective tissue that wraps around our muscles. And then they cut through everything else until we get to baby. So it's really important that we need to give our body time to heal. The reason why they say maturation is up until 24 months, that's not for everybody. It just goes up until 24 months. For some people, it takes about that long for all of those layers to fully remodel and heal and be the way they used to be before having the baby. Now, please note that's also why some doctors that are maybe a little bit more cautious or a little bit more old school would tell you after a C-section, don't exercise for 24 months, for 2 years, don't exercise for 2 years, or don't have another baby for 2 years, because technically in the textbook, it takes up until 24 months for all of those layers to heal. Now, what we do in this time is very, very important, because those 7 layers, they need to heal well. And they need to heal so that they can actually move over each other, because before we had the baby, those layers would glide over each other as we moved, and that's how it was efficient in our movement. Now, after we delivered, those layers that were cut through, as they are healing in that proliferation and remodeling period, they can actually form adhesions or scar tissue that causes those layers to stick together. So if you're a little further down in the CS journey, if you're past 6 months, you might find that sometimes, it feels kind of painful sometimes. Maybe there's a tearing sensation, or you might find that your scar is dug in a little bit and it's quite hard. That would be because there are some adhesions or scar tissue that has already formed. But don't worry, because we can still work on that. So let's talk about the rest of our body and not just our scar. Why does our body feel so different after pregnancy? What happened exactly? So let's talk about your core, right? Your core is so much more than just your abs. So if you look at the picture on the slide, you've got the parts of your full core here. Okay, so this is your rectus abdominis here, your external oblique. So basically all of the layers of your abs, and there are 4 layers of abs here, your mid back and your lower back muscles, your hip muscles, the muscles of your butt, the muscles that support your spine and your mid back, and the muscles in between your ribs as well. And, not part shown here, but very important. Part of your core is also your deep neck flexors. Most especially, very, very important parts of your core are your diaphragm and your pelvic floor. In fact, they're the top, kind of the ceiling of your core, and the pelvic floor is like the floor, basically, literally the floor of your core. So pelvic floor and diaphragm, and then everything else in the middle. This is your core. So basically, under your boobs until the top of your thighs, this is your core. And it is a very, very, very important team for your body, right? All of these parts of your body, all of these muscles, they all worked together pre-baby. And if you remember pre-baby, you didn't even have to think about how you moved. We just moved, right? Remember when you had full control of your body and you knew your body so well? Nothing ached, nothing clicked, nothing hurt, and everything just, you'd go to a buffet with your shirt tucked in and leave the buffet with your shirt tucked in. Remember? And now we can't do that anymore, can we? But this is because there's been dysfunction now that has happened to our core since having the baby. All these parts that used to work together really, really well throughout the course of our pregnancy, some of these parts of the core had to kind of go to sleep or stop working for the meantime. And the other parts now had to compensate for those parts that stopped working so that we can still move, we can still have some level of balance in our body during the pregnancy. Now, most important, among all of the changes that our body goes through during pregnancy, the most important thing that I want to talk about is your diastasis recti. So what exactly is diastasis recti? You might have heard about this before already, but basically this is the separation that happens in between your six-pack muscles. So your abs have 4 layers of muscles, and your six-pack is the third deepest layer of muscles, and it's right in the middle or in the front. And in between, if you have a look at the diagram here, in between your six-pack, there is a connective tissue. Her name is linea alba, and her job is to stick together the two sides of your six-pack. During pregnancy, though, that job changed. That job became, okay, I'm going to stretch and allow the two sides of the rectus abdominis or the six-pack to separate so we can accommodate the baby. In fact, diastasis literally means gap or separation, and recti means six-pack, right? So it is the gap between your six-pack. And this is something that is completely normal and will happen to everybody in every single pregnancy. This is just your body's natural adaptation to it. So everyone will actually still have some degree of separation upon delivery day, right? So you will have diastasis when you deliver. Everybody has it. After you deliver, it's a whole nother story, because how much of a gap you have will depend on a whole lot of factors. Is it your first baby? Are you carrying multiples? Did you gain a lot of weight during pregnancy? Did you gain it very quickly? Are you tiny and is your baby very big? Did you do exercises that maybe could have exacerbated the diastasis, or did you do exercises that tried to minimize it? However, everyone will have some degree of it upon delivery day. Now, after we deliver, your body will try to repair itself as much as it can. In that first 6 weeks, your linea alba will try to pull your six-pack closed. And if you have a very small gap, usually she'll be able to pull closed in that healing time. Now, if you do have a bigger gap, then it gets stuck at a certain point and we'll have to rehabilitate that part. Now, just because we don't have diastasis anymore, it doesn't mean that, okay, my core is good. I don't need any diastasis recti rehab because my core is good. This is not true, because your whole entire core, all those parts that I showed you earlier, they're still dysfunctional and they need to learn how to function again. Not to mention, as C-section moms, we automatically have diastasis recti after surgery. All abdominal surgeries, C-section or not, all open abdominal surgeries will result in diastasis recti. So there is a need to rehabilitate no matter what after a C-section or abdominal surgery. Now, how are we going to find out if we do have diastasis recti or if we have core dysfunction? You will first of all feel it. There are effects of core dysfunction, and some of them are as follows. So we'll have pain, usually in the lower back, but also in the mid and upper back would be an effect of having core dysfunction or diastasis recti. Gastrointestinal issues you might find since having the baby, that you're not digesting well, you're so bloated all the time, or you develop GERD or hyperacidity all of a sudden, which you didn't really have before. Bad posture, the mommy posture, kuba in short, right? Some of us are kuba, some of us would have a curve in the lower back, some of us have a big curve in the neck, you're tilting your chin forward, some of us would have a pushed forward hips, like when you pick up the baby and you let baby kind of rest on your hips, and that's the mommy posture, and that is also part of your core dysfunction. Incontinence or weak pelvic floor, this is kind of a blanket kind of term, but basically there are a lot of symptoms for a weak pelvic floor, but the most common signs would be some leakage, so pee leaks when you cough or jump or sneeze or run or laugh a lot. It could also be like inability to hold the pee, or needing to pee so many times in a day, or inability to fully empty your bladder. So these are all signs of a weak or tight pelvic floor. And then most of all, the mommy tummy. If you're looking at this picture right now on the slide, please note that this is a beautiful, beautiful badge of honor. This is your medal for having won this battle and having achieved the most impossible thing, which is giving birth, creating a human being with your body, and living to tell the tale, because it is definitely a miracle that we are here. Now, I do understand, however, that having the mommy tummy is also a sign, also a symbol of how much our body has changed, how much our lives have changed, how little control we have all of a sudden over our own body. So I do know that this is one of the reasons why we want to change, because we want to feel like ourselves again and we want to look like ourselves again. So if you feel like you want to make a change with regards to your mommy tummy, it is completely acceptable and completely okay. I do want to reiterate that it does not need to be this way. Even though a third of all moms have diastasis recti, even years later. So if you're watching this and you're maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years past your C-section, it doesn't mean that it is too late for you to change the way your body feels and looks. It is never too late to gain full control of your body again. In fact, here are some of the mommies that have done my program. These are just a very few of the moms that have done my core restoration program. Now, how do I know if I have it? There is an actual diastasis recti assessment, a 3-step self-check. So you can go ahead and watch and follow along and let me know what you find. Hello, all right, today I'm going to be showing you how to do a definitive self-check for your diastasis recti. You're gonna need a place to be lying down flat. You can be on the floor if you want, on a mat, or you could also be on your bed or on a couch. Just make sure that you can lie down flat, all right? So make sure that if you are gonna lie down, you wanna lie on your side first, roll onto your back. All right, so you want to put your pants down to where your hip bones push out, or if you had a C-section, then you want to put kind of slide your pants down to just over your bikini cut scar, if it is a horizontal scar. And then bring your shirt up to over your rib cage. All right, now you want to trace your ribs until you find that bit where it fuses, and this is your midline. Make a number 4 with your fingers, and then you want to kind of push your fingers down from the rib cage all the way down towards your belly button. At some point, you're going to find a spot that's going to feel very squishy and deep, like there's nothing inside. And this is where you're going to start to feel the stretched out part of your linea alba. And keep going past the belly button and find where it starts to have a bit more firmness inside again. All right. Now from there, you're going to take both hands and you're going to dig them into the middle to where that squishiest bit is, and then push your hands out to the sides this way. And you're gonna find this side bit doesn't feel the same as the middle bit. Next, take 2 fingers, dig the 2 fingers in to the deepest, squishiest spot. Support your neck, take a breath. And as you exhale, lift up. And you're gonna feel something squeeze your fingers inside. There are 2 walls that are gonna squeeze your fingers, and then they're gonna stop at a certain point. All right, now that is gonna be your diastasis recti. You're gonna find out, all right, I've got 2 fingers in between the 2 sides. That's your 6-pack that just moved into the middle. Is it 2 fingers, 1 finger, 3 fingers? With your shoulders up and your head off the floor, that is gonna be your diastasis recti, all right? So let me know what you find. All right, if you followed along with that video and if you found a gap or if you have any of the symptoms that I just talked about, please don't worry. And please hold on to the end of the workshop because I can help you with this exactly. Okay, so there are a few things that we do need to avoid. If you're already exercising, there are a few things that we are going to have to avoid for now. You might notice as well, if you've been working out quite a bit already, you may be noticing that these movements are not exactly working for you. It may even be feeling like you're making things worse or it's just stuck, all right? Traditional abdominal exercises right now will not be helpful for your postpartum core. This can actually exacerbate your diastasis. So please do avoid it for now. And again, wait till the end of the class so I can help you with the movements that you can actually do. So here are some movements to avoid. Sit-ups, crunches, double leg raises, front planks, back bends, upward facing dog, twisting motions, running, jump rope, and getting out of bed too quickly. So please be mindful of how you do get out of bed. Turn to your side first and then sit up when you want to get out of bed. So all of these movements push too much pressure out into your separated abs, and this can make your diastasis recti or your core dysfunction worse. Please remember that this is not forever. Diastasis recti is not a death sentence for your abs or all the activities that you love to do or the activities that you want to learn to do or the control that you have over your body. You just need to repair the separation and restore your core progressively. Once again, a few of these beautiful mamas that have done the core formula and are now enjoying all the activities that they want to do. All right, now let's talk about how you can actually rebuild after your C-section. There are 3 things that I would love to share with you today, and if you wait until the end, there's a whole lot more that I'm going to be able to share with you as well. Now, the top 3 things that we need to work on to rebuild after a C-section, first of all, is intentional breathing. Breathing is so very important. There are many different ways, many different types of breathing actually that have different benefits. This has the benefit of starting to reconnect that mind and body connection that was cut off during pregnancy and your C-section. So it's going to start to reawaken those ab muscles, reawaken the core muscles and the coordination of some of your core parts as well. Massage therapy, very, very, very important. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in a second. And after that is movement progression and rehab. So, massage therapy. What exactly is C-section scar massage? The benefits of C-section scar massage are these. First of all, it increases blood flow to the area to aid in healing. It promotes lymphatic drainage, so whatever toxins were left behind there. That also causes kind of the poofy appearance that gets drained. It returns sensation because it does get numb after. You might be noticing how this area is so numb, especially if you're still within that first 3 months post C-section. You'll notice it's so very numb. It prevents or reduces pain around the area of your scar. It prevents or reduces adhesions in scar tissue, which, remember I mentioned earlier, this causes the layers to stick together and causes pain and dysfunction as well. And it improves the appearance of your scar. So if you have a look at this picture here, she had a very dug in kind of appearance of the scar. There's a bit of a poofy bit over. That's how my scar looked as well after I gave birth. And now that I've been doing a lot of scar therapy, you can barely actually see my scar already. And you'll be seeing that in the videos in my program where you can barely see my scar. And the same happened to this mommy as well. You can barely see, the overhang is gone and the scar looks very beautiful actually. The full massage therapy progression is included in my post-CS core roadmap program. Stay tuned to the end to gain access to that. But I do want to talk about the 3 phases of scar massage, and I want to give you a little bit of a lesson already so that you can get started with that. There are 3 phases for your C-section scar massage therapy. The first phase is desensitization. So I mentioned earlier that our scar area can be very, very numb. In fact, even years later, you might find that there's still some numbness around the area. And it's very important to bring that sensation back because it helps to reduce the pain and reduce that sensitivity of the area. And it also brings back that function of the muscles around the area. If it's very numb there, it also contributes to the laxity or the appearance of the muscles. So the first thing that you want to do, and you can start with this today, when you're in the shower, get your loofah and you want to just caress the area around the scar. You actually want to take different textures and take some time throughout each day to caress the area around the scar and on top of the scar, especially if you're past 6 weeks post C-section. You want to go on top of your scar and just caress it with different textures. Start with a loofah. You can use a brush. You can use a towel or your shirt. Different types of textures to help that area remember what that feels like, help your brain remember what that feels like when you're caressing the area with a scar. So do that every day, maybe 10 passes around the scar and on top, and you'll start to feel that sensation come back. The second phase of scar therapy is skin rolling. Skin rolling is very, very important because, as I mentioned earlier, those layers underneath tend to stick together. And there is a technique called skin rolling that you roll away from the scar to allow that area to smoothen out. Phase 3 is actual scar massage. And in phase 3, I actually teach you how to specifically massage the area around the scar and on the scar itself so that you can work on that lymphatic drainage. You can work on the sensation around the scar. You can work on bringing back the function of the layers in between each other. And so that it flattens out, that overhang gets eased up, and there's full function of the muscles and sensation of the muscles. Let's talk about movement and rehabilitation. The key to successfully rehabilitating your core post C-section is through the right progression of exercises that will aid in tissue recovery and will return overall core function and strength. But coach, why can't I just do YouTube videos? They're all free. I totally get that. Random YouTube workouts will not be helpful and can actually cause further dysfunction if we're doing the same workouts over and over again. It's a good start. If you've gone on YouTube and you found some diastasis recti safe workouts and you started, that is great. It's a good start. However, we need to progress forward. There needs to be a specific progression of the core so that you can get back to the movements that you love to do so that you can start to learn doing other movements as well. And it will be efficient for your core to do them, not doing the same movements over and over again. Here are my top 5 movements to mobilize your SCAR and start returning core function. These movements are from my C-section roadmap program for your strongest post-C-section core in 6 weeks. I've included the top 5 here for you to start with. And I suggest doing about 5 to 10 repetitions of each movement, about 3 sets every other day to start bringing back that mobility, bring back that core function as well. And there you have it. Congratulations, you made it right to the very end of our workshop. I'm so proud of you for taking this time out for yourself. And as promised, I do have 2 surprises for you. Well, a surprise and a present. First and foremost, for your present, you got a DM freebie to me so that you can gain access to our post-CS recovery starter kit. That's gonna have your post-CS self-care guide and post-CS nutrition guide as well to help you heal properly, really recover your wound and your tissues, and also boost your milk supply. So I'm going to tell you all about all the food that you need to eat and avoid for that. All right, now for your surprise, guess what? I have just created a brand spanking new post-CS roadmap to your stronger core in 6 weeks program that you are going to have access to at a very, very slashed rate because you are special and you deserve this. Our post-CS roadmap to a stronger core program is all you need to rebuild your post-CS core. In 6 weeks, you will repair your diastasis recti, say goodbye to back pain and pee leaks in the pouch. You're gonna flatten and firm up your mama tummy, say goodbye to mama posture. You're gonna feel and look so, so good. And this is all that you need. And it's only 6 weeks and you deserve this. Come and join the 1,200 plus mamas that have done the Core Formula program and have changed your lives completely. All you have to do is swipe up, click on the button below. It'll take you to all the details of the program. You deserve this. Go for it.